What's good, everybody? Welcome to School of Hearts Flow Fridays. I'm your host, Jaquan Merchant, a part of the acting class here. Please give a round of applause for my co-host, Elizabeth Osei Kwame.
Thank you, Jaquan. Hi, everyone. I'm also an actress here at School of the Hearts. And today, our special guest has 40 years of experience in broadcasting. He's one of the most popular and enduring people here in Central New York. His television roles have ranged from staff announcer to news reporter, weathercaster, talk show host, and even a sports anchor. He has had experience of 25 years as a sports official. He played freshman football at Syracuse University. He also has an alter ego by the name of Baron Damone that established Mr. Price his popularity in local television. His alter ego, Baron Damone, recorded a song by the name of Transylvania Twist, and it is still being played more than 30 years later. Now please, let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Mike Price.
Pardon my death. That was an old song from years ago called the Transylvania. That was called the Transylvania Twist when I was a vampire many years ago. Oh, and by the way, this disguise I see on television where a lot of the big performers and well-known, nationally known stars and entertainers, they always have some sort of signature clothing or something that they wear, like the hat or the dark glasses. Even when they're in a dark room, they wear dark glasses. But I'll take these off, all right? This is just a temporary thing, just kidding around. And it was nice. Thanks for that round of applause. And nobody brought any old fruit or anything, did they? Because I didn't see anything coming my way. Jaquan, would you hold those for me, please? And this now, there's some bright light here now. And when I take this off, some of you might be blinded by the reflection here. Are you okay? Everybody all right? I should have a do like yours in the back there, right? I got to talk to you later and you can tell me how to do that. No, I'm beyond that stage. Would you hold that here, Elizabeth? Would you hold that for me?
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Don't let anything happen to that. Oh. No, I don't have any signature clothing. I wear hats in the wintertime because my bald head gets cold. So I wear a hat. But you see, you have Jaquan has a special signature hat that he wears. So see, that's part of his makeup. People know when they see that, oh, there's Jaquan right over there with that hat. Well, it's such a pleasure to be here today at the studio of the Arts. It's the Arts. See, it's hearts, but there's an art that's emphasized in there because a lot of art is involved here. So, but a lot of heart, a lot of it comes from here. So it's the studio of the Arts. No, so, and I want to thank everybody for the invitation. Tabby Lewis out front, Marcus Morris in the other room in there who's directing things. Rufus. I called him Marcus, didn't I? Rufus, I'm sorry. Don't beat me today. And Annette Adams Brown over here. So thank you. I got your name right, didn't I? Thank you. And Elizabeth and Jaquan too. So thank you very much. It's a delight to be here with you today. And your introduction, I could only hear part of it when I was in the other room because the door was mostly closed. And I'm old and I don't hear too well. I'm deaf in one ear and can't hear out of the other. Other than that, I'm in pretty good shape. But it sounded like a very flowery introduction, probably a lot nicer than I deserved.
Oh, you deserve all the praise.
See, I said that so she should say other nice things about me. So I was teasing. But it's great to be here with you. You said 40 years? I was 46 years at Channel 9. Wow. That's just probably older than most of your parents. You know, you have grandparents that are as old as I am, and you're probably thinking, now, how old is he? As old as dirt, you know? When you study about the dinosaurs, you might see me loom up somewhere with the dinosaurs. I'm 75. But it's a delight to be here with you folks today. This is really nice, a nice setup, and what a nice turnout, too. And I probably talked to, oh, I gotta tell you though, did you mention that I played football at Syracuse?
Yes, sir, I did.
I played football at Syracuse University at a time, now get this, 1959. I played for 1 year only, and that's when freshmen were not allowed to play varsity football. So most of your colleges and universities had freshman football teams. Like high schools now have freshman teams and modified teams. Well, in college they had freshman teams, and I played on the freshman team in 1959. Now that probably doesn't mean a lot to you folks, but 1959 was the year that the Syracuse University varsity won the national championship. They were the #1 team in the nation, and I played on the freshman team. So you know what we used to do every day at practice? The freshman team would scrimmage against the varsity national champions. That was brutal, let me tell you. And you had to play in those days, for 5 or 6 years, you had to play both ways. You had to play offense and defense. And they don't call them just ends anymore, they're wide receivers and tight ends. But if you were at the end of the line, either side, even if you split out wide, you were just called an end. So I was an end, and I was an offensive end and a defensive end. You had to play both ways. So on defense, I would step out, and you have to keep the play inside of you. You're supposed to always keep it inside. Don't let them get around you. And the ball would be snapped, and they had a couple All-Americans, Bruce Tarbox and Roger Davis. And they would pull out of the line and come around that end, and I'd look between them, and the guy carrying the ball was the Elmira Express. Do you know who that was? Ernie Davis.
Wow.
A Heisman Trophy winner, an All-American for 3 years at Syracuse. And it was my job. It still hurts when I think of it. Get in there and get a hand on him. Slow him down so that the linebackers and the cornerbacks can come up from behind you and they'll make the tackle. If need be, just strip that offense. Well, the 2 guys leading the blocking were All-Americans also. So I used to see a lot of sky, because I'd get hit and all I'd see is sky, and then I'd see the ground, and then I'd see the sky again, because I would maybe do 2 or 3 flips in the air before I hit the ground. And once in a while, I'd grab a hand on Ernie Davis, but I don't know what happened. He always managed to slip by me somehow, or run over me.
What advice would you give to high school students such as ourselves that want to follow in your footsteps?
If they did advice for what?
Advice that you would give high school students such as ourselves that want to follow in your footsteps, news reporter, in the media industry.
If you want to follow in my footsteps, go get a real job. You know, like I said, I was a lucky guy in the right place at the right time. And I'll answer your question more thoroughly, but I got to tell you, people will say to me, Mike, you were there for 46 years. How did you survive? How did you make it? What's your longevity? What do you attribute to being able to stay there for 46 years? Well, at our television station, and this is true at most stations, there's a turnover of general managers. Like every 4 or 5 years, you get a new manager comes in. Well, just about the time the general manager that we had figured out how I was faking it and knew that got to do something with this guy. He doesn't have any talent. A new guy would come in, and they'd have to start all over. And just about the time that person would figure out how I was faking it, another one would come in, and they'd have to start all over. So that's how I made it for 46 years. Well, one day I was walking down the corridor. It was only about a month after I'd been there, and I heard our program manager and general manager discussing old movies. We had these old horror movies that Frankenstein was in them, and the Wolfman, and the Mummy, and Dracula, who was a vampire. And they were discussing, we have these movies, but now what are we going to do with them? When are we going to show them? What would be appropriate? And I said, can I interrupt you for a minute? And they said, yeah, what is it, Mike? I said, I can do a fairly decent imitation of the original Dracula in the movies, who was Bela Lugosi was his name, and he played Count Dracula, and he talked like that. And I said, I think I can do that. And I said, I could put on a vampire costume. And then we could run these old movies on Saturday night. Well, thank you, and that's so nice, so kind of you.
I remember that.
And you have such a beautiful neck. All the better for biting. And you know, vampires, they beat people on the neck and suck their blood. That's how they survive. It's that they're the living dead. Like zombies walking around.
Mr. Price, other than Baron Damone, that video was astonishing, by the way. Other than him, did you do any other interesting voices or voiceover?
Yes, I also did another character. I don't think we have any video of it. We had a few still pictures. I was a guy called Cousin Orky. And Cousin Orky was like a hayseed hillbilly type guy, like a redneck. And I wore big baggy pants that didn't fit me, and an old slouch hat. Not like that. It was a really crummy hat with the brim pulled down all the way around, and just a t-shirt. And then on these big baggy pants were big wide suspenders. And it was sort of a ragged looking outfit. And then I would take what you call tooth black, and I would black out a couple teeth. So when I smiled, I looked like a jack-o'-lantern, you know, with missing teeth. And I had a voice like this. I go, whoop, oh. And the set that we had around me was bales of hay and an old broken down fence and a picture of a barn in the back. So I looked like I was in a barnyard. And we would run, and I would introduce cartoons, like Looney Tunes and Disney cartoons and that sort of thing. But I would say, well, hello there, boys and girls. I'm glad you're with us this morning. We're going to take a look at Porky Pig right now. All right, let's see Porky, or I thought Pussycat over there. I thought Pussycat. No, that's not Porky Pig. That's Sylvester. So that's what I did. I was Cousin Orky. Oh, and I had these big clodhoppers on, big boots. Well, thank you, Annette.
Well, there goes our time. Thank you, Mr. Price, for stopping through. Give it up.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. And one of the problems with me, and always has been, well, not always, but once I got a few years under my belt in my career, was I talk too much. And I elaborate too much. I tell you a story that should be told in 30 seconds, I can do it in 5 minutes. I can drag it up for 5 minutes. So, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to meet you. You were very talented. And I only saw 3 or 4 people started to nod.
Grab a hold of your baby, hold her tight, 'cause Madame Lemon is flying tonight. If you see a winter jazz,